Losing a home hurts in a way that people just don't talk about enough. One minute you're planning your life there, and then the next you find out that someone else got it. Most buyers blame themselves when this happens. They think they waited too long, offered wrong, or they overall just weren't ready. But most of the time, that's not the truth. The truth is no one slowed down and explained to them how offers actually work. Well, you're in luck, because I'm Kay, giving you the real keys to home ownership. And in this video, I'm going to show you how buyers lost out on homes they really wanted and what you as a buyer can do to ensure this never happens to you. Let's get into it.
We put an offer in on a house yesterday and it has been rejected. We are not surprised because we went in lower than the asking price, but we wanted to get a sense from the vendor of what they might be willing to accept. Thing is, there's 2 other buyers who have also put an offer in yesterday. So now we're in a position where we have to decide how much we want to put forward. I feel physically sick thinking about it, which I think is probably a sign because we do really love this house. So yeah, big decisions for us. Speak to the estate agent again tomorrow. Best and final offer. Cross your fingers for us.
This is a moment where a lot of buyers can take this personally. As she stated, they offered below the asking price and later found out that the seller received more offers for them to review. Here's the deal. When sellers have multiple offers, they're not just comparing prices. They're looking at the overall picture. They're comparing confidence and clarity. To a seller, an offer that comes in under asking, especially when they have other interested buyers, can look risky and can sometimes offend the seller. The decision isn't made because the buyer was a bad person or they didn't know what they were doing. It's just the seller has more options now. Even if the buyer fully planned on negotiating and improving that offer later, the seller doesn't know that. They only see what's on paper, which is why it's so important for you to have someone negotiating on your behalf as a buyer. This is also where timing becomes everything. Because in a slower market, or another way to say it is in a buyer's market, when there are less buyers and more houses for sale, offering under the asking price can open the door for negotiation. But in a more competitive market, or another way to say it is a seller's market, when there are less homes and more buyers gunning for the same home, they may not be as accepting and it could take you out of the running. But don't let that discourage you. It's not a bad thing and it doesn't mean that you're wrong. Just understand that based on the market that you're buying in should dictate the offer that's submitted and how the offer is going to be received on the seller's end. This is why I tell my buyers that strategy matters just as much as your budget. I want to pause here for a brief second just to explain to you how offers actually work. When you submit an offer, you're not just saying how much you're willing to pay, but you're answering a question for the seller. And that question is, does this offer make sense for us to accept right now? From the seller's point of view, they're looking at many things, but here are a few for you to know. First, they're looking at how strong the offer feels overall, not just the price. They want to know if the deal is going to close without any problems and not cause any stress for them along the way. Secondly, they're looking at timing. How fast do you want to move forward? How long is this going to take? And lastly, they're comparing you to every other offer that they've received. It's important for you to know that when there are multiple offers, sellers are not negotiating the same way as they would with one buyer. They're ranking options, which, as they should. They're asking themselves which offer is going to cause them the least amount of stress and is more likely to make it to the finish line. Which is why the young lady in this video who offered less than asking price wasn't wrong. It just works differently depending on timing, competition, and the seller situation. But if no one takes the time to sit down and explain this to you, it can feel confusing, discouraging, and unfair when your offer doesn't get chosen. This is the part of the process that buyers deserve to understand before they ever submit anything. Now that we understand what an offer is, I want to show you what it looks like from the seller side when they receive an offer that just isn't right for them. Check it out.
We're not gonna take the offer.
At all?
No, I'm gonna stay at the 1.225.
Okay. Anything I should, you want to relay, or that's pretty much it?
I did the math. I can't. I tried it. I can't do it.
Okay. I'll let them know.
All
right, sir. Thank you. You got it.
This is exactly how decisions are made behind the scenes. When a seller says an offer doesn't make sense, they're usually not being emotional. Now, that's not always the case, but most of the times they're evaluating risk. They're asking themselves, will this close on time? Will this cause a headache for me? Or will we even have to renegotiate in the future? And this is where buyers who primarily focus on price can definitely lose. Because yeah, the number may look fine, but the rest of the offer looks complicated and unclear, which can cause a seller to walk away without countering. Sellers don't want any surprises. They want predictability. And this is often why sellers don't always choose the highest offer. They will choose an offer that feels simple, clean, and will close without any problems. The sellers want the same thing you do as a buyer. They want a smooth transaction, and at the end of the day, they just want the money from their sale. Another thing that buyers usually aren't privy to is that if a seller is selling their home, they may still own a mortgage on that house, meaning they have to pay that off before they can sell it to you. So if they've asked for $150,000 and you've come in with an offer for $145,000, that's not going to work. Not only are you offering less than what they asked, but they're not even going to be able to pay off their debt to break even with the sale of that home. I know as a buyer, getting rejected on an offer that you've submitted on a house that you really wanted seems unfair, but there are all these different moving factors that comes when offering on a home. I want to end the reactions with this last video because it shows a very different outcome. The sellers actually took a much lower offer by choosing them, all because they love the story that came with them.
Anything else in the contract? Y'all don't have to pay more. She looked y'all up when you're online.
Oh.
This is an LA school. If she did, look you up. And it's none of my doing. It's who you guys are.
Oh, wow.
She loves y'all, and she wants to sell the y'all. She told us, so she was like, these people need to have my house.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You guys got it. You're not going to have to come out of pocket.
You got it! Oh my gosh!
That's so funny because, I mean, you don't do those things for the community to get things back in return, but it's beautiful when it does come back to you.
You said she went to the same ballet school?
Yeah, she went to the same ballet school.
As you? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
So I hope that didn't set you up too bad.
No, that's
Oh my god, it's
that's crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm having trouble believing it, to be honest.
Serendipitous.
It's so, I mean, when I walked in and there were pointers hanging in the dining room, I was like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
Yeah,
And I was like, is this house been waiting for me?
you're holding avocados.
I'm putting groceries away that have been out since yesterday because I've been so schizophrenic about this whole thing.
This surprises people, but it does happen. Sometimes sellers aren't just selling a house, but they're closing a chapter of their life. And when an offer feels respectful, even thoughtful, and aligns with what the seller cares about, the price just becomes one part of making that decision. I don't want to get your hopes up in that this means stories always win, because they don't. But it does show that offers are emotional decisions as much as they are financial ones. If you're currently coming along in your home buyer journey or are looking to start your home buyer journey, I want to leave you with two things that you as a buyer can do to help improve your chances when offering on homes that you picture yourself in. First, partner with an agent or professional, and also understand for yourself the moment you're buying in. An offer that works in one market does not always work in the other. Before you submit anything, you need to understand if you're in a quiet moment or a competitive one. Timing and competition completely change how your offer should be written and definitely how it will be received by the sellers. Secondly, make your offer feel safe to the sellers. Safety matters more than buyers even realize. Sellers want to feel confident that the deal will close without stress, delays, or any confusion. When an offer feels clear, organized, and thought out, it stands out even if it isn't the highest offer. If you're watching this and thinking, I don't want to guess when it's time to make that offer, well, you're in the right place. You deserve to understand how your offer will be received before you even submit it. And that's exactly what I'm here to help people with. If you're preparing to buy and want clarity around offers, strategy, and timing, go ahead and click that link in my description for a consultation with me. We'll walk through your situation and make sure you feel confident before signing or submitting anything. Until the next time, bye.